everyone, it's me Kathleen from the Zen Art team, and today we will be doing a peacock feather. Okay, so of course peacocks are always beautiful, especially the male ones because they're quite colorful. So today we will experiment and first paint with non-metallic watercolors and then use the metallic watercolors to just add some shimmer to our peacock feather, because if you do look at them closely, they do have this beautiful shimmer to them. So it's a fun time to learn about using our metallic watercolors, how you can because they're quite beautiful actually. So I will show you how I use them today so that you can also try them out in the future. Okay, so hi Dawn. Hi everyone, so glad you're joining. I didn't sketch yet because I figured it's very easy, and so also you can see how I would go about my sketching. And you know, you can totally sketch it yourself. You don't need a line drawing. It's very basic because you don't need to sketch all the different lines of the feathers one by one. Okay, so let's flip the camera down now and you'll see my desk. So I'm using a square shaped paper. This is an 8 by 8 inches. Good morning, hello. Okay, so again, I share the reference photo. Here it is. So you can choose to paint this from the corner at an angle, or you can choose to paint this elongated like so. Up to you. You can play around with it. You can do several in one paper. Just have fun with it. Okay, so I'll set this aside. I've shared this in the event, so you'll find it there if you want to try it out after. Okay, so for the metallic paints, I've actually sprayed this earlier, but I will spray it again. So I just have this spray bottle that I use to activate the paint. So some paints, they will take time to reactivate, so especially these ones, the metallics, because they are from, you know, minerals and crushed, you know, natural stones and such. So it's just like all the earthy pigments. They are on the harder side, and you would need to reactivate them. So just spray them 5 minutes beforehand, and it will soften your paints and will be so ready to use. So I just have this spray bottle, just a tiny one, very handy. Okay, you can also use this to easily pre-wet your paper when you're painting wet and wet. Okay, so I'll set this aside because I will use this for later, and I will also cover it so it doesn't dry up easily. Okay, so but today we will be using colors mainly from the Vista palette because it has all the lovely blues and greens that we have in our peacock feather. All right, so those are the materials, and then my usual go-to brushes, my Squirrel Synthetic, and also the detail brushes from the Fine Line. Okay, so whenever you paint, just have everything ready and your paper towel so that you don't stop midway. Okay, so again, I will draw mine at an angle because I like something more dramatic. Okay, so just start with the line of your peacock feather, and then just find where the center. Okay. Take your time when you do this. Okay, and I will just draw the general shape of the oval. First, the outer oval. Okay, so you want it elongated. It's almost like an egg shape. And then inside you have a circular, just an oval without the V here. Okay, so you can just roughly sketch it, and that's fine. Or if you want to be more precise, then you can, of course, refine this further. And then another a smaller, now a circular one. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle, because actually it isn't. So don't stress out about making it perfect. So all the feathers, they will have slight variations, so there's no need to make everything too perfect. And then for the center, you have this shape here, like splitting, and then going there, touching almost this outer circle on this side, and a bit thicker down here. Okay, and then you already have the most important shape, because all the other details later, you just need to sketch the flow of the feathers, but you don't have to draw every single one. So here I'm just adding where it ends and the general shape. Because here you can totally have fun. You can even add scroll-like ends. You can make this more fantastical or more stylized. It's very fun. Okay, so that's the nice thing about peacock feathers. It's just really, you can have fun with it. And there you have it. You have your sketch. So again, you can totally refine this further if you want. And now we're ready to paint. Okay, I'm just going to round off. So let's start. Hello, good afternoon. Okay, so I usually tend to use a thick brush, a big round brush to begin with for the big painting areas, and then later I will just use smaller brushes as I go into more detail. Okay, so let's start with our lighter color here, which is a nice bright green. So I will use Aureolin green for the base. So let's have some of the Aureolin green. You can have a separate mixing area. Let me see if I have. Okay. I tend to forget to clean my mixing plates. Okay, but you can easily clean it here. Okay, so Aureolin green, so it's very bright, but don't worry, you will layer over it, so don't despair if it seems too neony. Okay, so I'm going to layer it over here on the outer section where it's a vibrant green. So this is the base. You will still cover this later. So you just mix any cool yellow and blue that you have, and you can get a green like this. So this will be more yellow than blue. So don't add too much blue at the beginning. Okay, so I'm going to do this, and now I'm going to switch to a smaller brush, smaller round brush. And the same Aureolin green, already start to draw the feathers, springing from here, from the green right here. Okay, so some areas will have a lot of like hairs close to each other, and some have space, so just vary it. You can refer to your reference photo, or you can just create your own if you want. So start from here, and then as you lift up, it will give you the tapering ends. Don't start from here because it's much harder to control. Start from here and then pull up as you reach the end. And from the center too, you also do that. It's fine if there are spaces in between. Actually, it looks better that way. It's like breathing room for the eyes. So don't forget to have the ends. Again, if you want to be more stylized about it, you can do the curls if you want. So in the future, we might paint the peacock. It's very, very detailed. It's probably gonna take so long. But it's a very beautiful bird. So what birds have you guys tried to paint before? So you can also overlap some lines. And there you have your first layer. So really awesome. And already you can see just by doing the spread of the lines, the peacock feather. Okay, so now we're going to do this area, but I don't want the color to mix, so I'm going to use my blow dryer to quickly dry this layer. If you're not pressed for time, then you don't have to do this. In fact, you know, it's better if you wait for it to dry naturally. But in my case, I will use the blow dryer. Okay, now we'll do this area. But for here, I don't want it to be just a flat brown. So first I will start with a warm yellow, this Indian yellow. It's perfect. And I will first lay Indian yellow as the first layer, just like what we do here. This is not the final color, but just having that bright color underneath and layering over it just gives it that vibrancy that you want for a peacock feather. Okay, so I have some right here. Okay, so just layer over it. I know it's brown, but really when you do this, it gives your brown that golden touch. Okay, so this will be more of a wet and dry. And it doesn't have to be very smooth or anything like that because you're going to layer over it. Yeah. Really? Wow, that's awesome. And when you get to observe it in person, it also helps when you paint it. It gives you extra, you know, like seeing things in person. Like when you look at a peacock feather in actuality, you see even more colors. Okay, so again, blow dryer, and then I will do the blue and then the darker blue. So step by step. So I'm doing this because, again, I don't want the colors to mix. I want them to remain separate. Okay, so for the bright blue on the outside, I'm going to use phthalo blue. It's a nice, vibrant blue. Perfect for this. Okay, so phthalo blue. So phthalo blue can be quite staining. So this is a color that you won't easily be able to fully lift off if you want to correct things. So when you use phthalo blue, you have to... Okay, so we can actually cover the whole thing because this is just a darker blue on top. So don't worry, this is not too dark because it will dry lighter. And try not to overlap the yellow so much because then it will come out green. A little bit is fine. It will look okay, but not too much. Okay, just on the edges. Okay, and again, another go at the blow dryer. So if you don't have Indian yellow, you can use cadmium yellow or Hansa yellow. Usually they're on the mid, a little bit slightly warm only, not too much. Okay, so you want a warm yellow for this. Okay, next we want to do the, since this is dry, we can now work on the brown. Okay, so I have, let's see if I like the brown. There's a sepia here that I will mix with yellow ochre to get a golden brown. Okay, so again, this is all a matter of trying to achieve the colors that you want. So have an extra piece of paper if you're not sure of your mixture so that you can try it out before you use it. Okay, so now I will paint it over here. Okay, I like it. I'm going to stick with it. Okay, so this is perfect, and I won't layer it too thick. I want the yellow under to pop through because it will add to the golden effect that you want the peacock feather to have. So even before we add the metallics, we can already help our feather have that golden hue by layering our colors. But of course, it's going to be even more successful with the metallics later on. So it's fun to experiment with metallics, especially for subjects that are really metallic or have that shiny sheen. I'm actually very attached to my metallics, whether I paint in oil or acrylic. I have silver, gold, bronze. It's fun to play around with. Okay, so now you have it. You can actually add more brown to the edge. It is a bit more, there's like a very vague, very subtle line. Okay, so as you can see, because we did the yellow first, it gives us this golden effect. And now we will add the darker blue inside. So we will use ultramarine, and we'll mix some cobalt violet. Let's see. We want it deeper. So ultramarine is dark, but I feel I wanted it a bit deeper. So let's see if we can achieve it with adding purple. If not, we also can add indigo. So we want it darker but not muddy. So I don't want to add brown. Okay, I think I like it. So I will just make sure I like the final mixture before I use it. Okay, and then let's use it here. You can just layer this color to make it darker, so you can add one layer now, wait for it to dry, then add another layer later. Okay, so don't forget the shape. So that's what I'll do. It might be a bit too light once it dries. I'll wait for it to dry and then see, and then add another layer. All right, so we have the makings of the peacock already. Awesome. Okay, so for the actual feather now, we will mix several greens for that. Okay, so let's dry this because I tend to just smudge things, so I'll just dry it. Okay, now let's mix a deeper green. Okay, we have it already actually. We have a jade green right here, but I'll mix some permanent green light with it just to temper it down a bit. Okay, so permanent green light. With jade green. So the peacock feather actually has very jewel-like colors. Okay, now it's time for my paper towel, just so I control. Okay, so we'll start here from the rim. So also vary your line thickness. Okay, and then you can switch to a more detailed brush if you want, which I will for the finer lines. So you don't have to do this because actually there are very thin lines springing from here. So it's up to you, but you don't have to do this in detail. But I do like the texture, so for mine I'm doing it. But the more line weights, varying line weights you have, the more natural it's going to look. And it's quite easy to achieve with a rigger brush. Okay, so my rigger brushes are my favorite for painting strands of hair, fur, branches, fine branches. Okay, and just here, just lightly on the edges. So the edges have a darker green color, green and brown. So I also layer brown here after. You can go for a more turquoise feather if you want. And again, so color-wise, you can create your own color palette if you want. Some people, when they paint their peacock feathers, it's more on the blue side, some more on the green. It's really fun, so you can totally experiment with it. So again, the same idea from here and then bring it out. So for this, you just layer your different greens and golden browns, and you will get a very beautiful peacock feather. Okay, try not to overdo it because you do want some space for the metallics later on. Okay, so let's not forget the line that goes straight to the center. So I'm using green now, and then I will add a layer of blue after. Okay, and again, on the other side, just the same as this. Rigger brushes also allow you to paint longer lines without running out of pigment, of wetness too soon. If you use a small round brush, you'll have to keep dipping every so often. All right, so you can already see it's starting to really look like a peacock feather. So I'm liking it, and I'm just fixing some areas where it's more in detail. And then I will add the golden brown. Okay, so I already have the mixture here. I'm just going to add to it. I'll add a bit more of the yellow because I want a softer brown on the side for layering. Okay, and then we'll use that and layer it over here. Okay, so it's not just green, there's also hints of brown. But just at the edges. Okay. It's not all the way down to the brown center, just here at the edges. And you'll also bring it out. So let's add more mixture. Okay, so here too. So golden brown. Again, don't overdo it. Just layering here and there. Some thicker, some lighter, thinner rather. All the way down. So here I'm starting a bit thicker because there's intense concentration of golden color here. Based on my reference, which I'm following not too closely, but generally. More as a guide. Okay, so remember about your references. You don't have to follow them perfectly. And don't forget the other side. Okay, that's too brown. Let's add more yellow. So when you're doing this, you can prep more so that you don't have to stop midway. Okay. Other side. So this is why I love rigger brushes. They really give you these natural flowy lines and with really the least amount of effort. Especially if you have shaky hands like me. And you can take your time when you do this, okay? You don't have to hurry like me, so that you can really make your lines even more beautiful. All right, so now I'm just going to add some texture using the dark brown. Okay, this is sepia, so I'm just going to add from outside now, bring it in. So just suggestive. You don't have to do this. You can already stop at this point. But I just want the texture of the feather to show through. Follow the shape, how the hair here moves. It should be similar. Okay, so this is just suggestive. Of course, there are actually more lines, but you don't have to do all of them. Okay, and now let's do the blue one. So just a darker blue, ultramarine will be fine. Again, just connect the lines from the outside. Same flow. It's like, imagine the line from the outside going in without being broken. And just suggestive. Okay, and then I will add a deeper blue. So let's get our blue. Let's add some of the indigo. Okay. Let's use indigo, especially here at the upper portion. It's very deep blue. And then bring it down. So as it goes down, you can also make it a bit lighter. So just add a bit of water to the tip of your brush. All right. And now it's time to add the blue here, and then we'll do some of the metallics. Fun time. Okay, so let's do the blue, the deep blue, so indigo. And let's deepen this. Okay, I think I'm also going to add it here and there, just to add a layer of, it doesn't seem out of place. Okay, so I'm going to add blue lines here and there. So there's like a transition. Okay, awesome. So before I do this, I will again use my blow dryer so that I will not smudge the colors under. Okay, blow dryer. Oh, I'm glad you like it, Joe. Okay, and before I forget, this looks just a bit floaty, so I'm going to add extra rim of brown following the flow of the hair. Okay, so there's like an outline, so just the lines, again short lines following the flow of the hair for the edge of this brown shape. And don't worry if you feel like you've done it too dark or anything like that. You can just wet it later and dab it with your paper towel, and you will be able to lift off the paint. Okay, I suggest you do this with more care so that you can do each line carefully. Otherwise, you'll do a little bit of dashes like what I'm doing now because I'm hurrying. But if you do this carefully, you'll be able to control your lines much better. And here it's also a bit darker, so let me add that. And here too, I'm going to mix the brown and the blue and also add like a sort of shadow here at the base. So try to use the colors that you used around your palette so nothing seems off or out of place. Okay, again, another go at the blow dryer and then the metallics finally. Right, so I already sprayed it earlier, but again, I will still continue to reactivate it. Okay, so it's soft-ish, which is perfect. So I'm now going to spray it again. All right, so let me just see which colors I want to go with. All right, so I think I will use some of this. Okay, so this is a pyrite. All right, so let's use some of that. Now I'm gonna go for my round brush, my detail round brush number 2. So since it's been softened, it's quite smooth now. So you can prepare a lot of the mixture. You can prep it. So it's just a matter of pre-wetting it, and look how smooth and creamy it is. Okay, so for some of your paints that you feel are like they're just so hard, it just means that you just need to pre-wet them before you use them. So 5 minutes before you already, or even earlier, start spraying it, and they'll be quite soft and creamy. Okay, so I'm going to use this metallic green and add it here and there. Okay, so later I will show it against the light, because like this it's not very visible, but it's actually very pretty. So again, don't overdo it, because you want to layer not just one metallic color, you want also some blues. Okay, and I'm just tapering the ends so they're not blunt. Okay, I think that's enough, and I'm going to do the other side. It's really fun to play around with metallics. So that's why it's also important to leave areas not wholly painted. And again, just fixing the blunt edges so that they are tapering. And okay, I'll show you at an angle so you'll see it. But wait, I'll just use my favorite rigger to, of course, add here as well, not just on the outside. It's shimmery all over. Okay, so I hope you can see it, but it's quite shiny. It's so hard to, I don't know if you can see it, but you can see a very subtle shimmer. So it's not like the big glitter. It's a very nice shimmer, which is actually perfect for the peacock feather, because the glitter is just a nice shimmer. It's not like a big chunk of like gold dust sprayed. Okay, now I'm going to add some of the green, the darker green, this one. And again, you can, okay, so this might be too much, but don't worry. If this happens, it will just evaporate and everything will just go back to before. So don't stress. Look at me just over wetting things. But I prefer it this way, so I can actually have a lot of the mixture before it starts to dry. Okay, and I'm going to go back to my rigger so I can have, I think I might switch to a bigger, slightly bigger rigger. So let me just, that one is just very fine. Okay, so this one, okay. The one earlier was a 4/0, now this is a 2/0. Still quite very fine. Okay, so again, I'm going to try to go between the one that I did earlier, so I won't try to overlap them so much. You can actually have the glitter going beyond, where you can visibly see the ends of the glitter. Okay, I like it. It looks nice. So I will do that for here as well. Okay, so don't overdo things. Other side as well. So this is why I really make use of the rigger, because sometimes I have a hard time controlling the very fine lines. So having the metallics go beyond actually looks amazing. So I'm going to continue with this. And if you thin it down, it's going to have a very sheer sheen, which is also very wonderful. Okay, so try to relax a little bit when you're doing these lines. The more that you tense, the stiffer your lines will be. So I know it's hard because you're trying to concentrate, trying to make your lines look nice. Okay, again, I'm going to switch to the smaller brush so I can add it here without it turning out too thick. And you can also dilute it so it's not too much. Just sort of dripped here. Okay, so now I'm going to go here at the middle and use this one here, the antique gold, which is perfect for the brown. Okay, so let me just spray that to awaken it. So this palette has several golds, yellow gold, gold, antique gold, really wonderful. So depending on which gold you're trying to paint, you'll find it in this palette. It has 18 metallic colors, really lovely. As you can see, I've used most of them. Not the purple so much, but everything else, it's only a matter of like subject preference, but I'm sure you'll be able to use it depending on what you like to paint. Okay, so I'm going to go for my 4/0 rigger because I want the lines to be fine. So this is antique gold, and I'm going to layer it over here. So tomorrow I will photograph this in natural light and at an angle so you can get to appreciate the metallics better. But I really love them right now. It looks so subtle but perfect for the subject, which is the peacock feather. And don't worry if you feel like you've gone too much. You can always layer the darker brown over it again. Okay, next, we'll also do the blue, of course. Why not, right? So for that, I'm going to use the steel. Okay, perfect. So it really has all the lovely colors for layering over the previous colors that you did to give them a metallic shine. Okay, so let's use steel now. Okay. So once you've awakened the colors, it's so soft and creamy. Okay, so let's layer the steel here. Oh, let's use a smaller rigger. So again, more suggestive. You don't have to go overboard with it. I just want to do it for the whole feather except for the center, because it really it makes everything look complete, perfect, like a real peacock feather. Okay, and then I will just go over this dark blue again because I've sort of covered it with the metallics. So just go over it. Just bring back that very clear line in the middle. You will be able to, don't worry, you can layer it over the metallic. Okay, so just bring it back. Okay, let me just fix this. It should be more centered. And there you go. Okay, I'm quite happy already. You can always come back to it tomorrow, another day, and see if there are sections that you want to revive, like you want to add darker lines, for example, which I probably will, but with fresher eyes so I can make better judgments. But you don't want to lose the center, and you also want to add some blue, of the same blue that you used here, to branch out, so it's not like there's just suddenly a line of blue there that's by itself. You know, you want to transition so everything is harmonious and they all just blend together. Okay, so this is my peacock feather. I hope you try it out and you will see how metallics, you know, when you get to see it in person, when you do it in person with your metallics, it's really awesome. There's a nice shine to it. I don't know if it's visible to you. It's really hard with these videos, but it's there. It's a very nice shimmer, just like how it would look like when you're holding an actual peacock feather. So this is my feather. It's in an 8 by 8 inch pad, and you can of course add more details, or you can just keep it as it is. You can always cut your paper smaller if it's too big. Okay, so I've shared the reference photo, so please do try it out, but remember, don't be too attached to it. Just use it as a guide. You can again make it more figurative if you want more stylized, but this is how I did it with the shimmering colors and metallic watercolors. So I hope you try it out, and if you do, please do share it so that we can all appreciate your wonderful work. And thank you for watching and for staying with me. So I hope to see you next Monday again. So thank you everyone, and I hope to see you again next Monday for our next live painting. Hope you try this out and have a good day. Bye.